On the firewall, we had to cut the frame out because there was a lip. The lip is great when you use the original parts, but we have a plate that's going to bolt flush. The lip keeps it from bolting flush, so we have to remove the lip so everything bolts and seals tight.
This week on Sam's Garage, we're saving money, making power, and keeping cool. Sam makes the case for calibrating your torque wrenches with Team Torque before your next expensive engine build. Then Edelbrock's Pro-Flo EFI opens fuel injection for everything from classic Mopars to modern Hemis, right from your phone. And a 66 Corvette that never had air conditioning is about to change that, as Sam and Wade tackle a full Vintage Air Gen 5 install from the firewall out. It's tools, tech, and timeless iron right here on Sam's Garage. In this game, every dollar counts, and a drop torque wrench can cost you an engine. Sam breaks down why calibration matters on every build, from the Supra to a 5.4-liter twin-turbo BMW, and why Team Torque has been the only call worth making since the 80s. Protect your tools, protect your build.
All right, guys, let's face it. This game we play is expensive. Think about how many times we lie to our spouses about the prices that we pay for the items that we buy for our vehicles. Whether it be this race car, whether it be that street car. All the engines that we build, all the things that we do are very expensive. So you want to try to save as much money anywhere you can. And when building an engine, we're relying on one tool, and that tool is going to be our torque wrench. Now, no matter how skilled we are, no matter how many engines that we have built, we don't ever think about the torque wrench and whether it needs to be calibrated or not. Some of us even have dropped a few times and don't even think about it. Anytime you drop a torque wrench, it's a good idea to have it calibrated, to have it checked out. Because these engines, like this 5.4-liter twin-turbo V8, it's very expensive. The race engines that we build, like in that Supra, or the superchargers that we put on built engines, all very expensive. So you want to rely on your tool to make sure that that job is going to be proper. No matter how good of a tech you are, you could be doing it for decades. It doesn't matter. You're going to be doing what you're doing normally with your torque wrench, and this torque wrench may fail you. So we go to Team Torque. And what they do is they've been doing this since the 80s. They've been doing this since up in the Midwest, upper Midwest, but anybody in the country can use their services. And I sent this snap-on torque wrench that I've had for 26 years, and they completely rebuilt it for me. They made it look brand new. They literally cleaned it up, made it look brand new. But they didn't stop at the torque wrench. They even took the case and took all my black fingerprints that I've had on this thing for 2 decades completely off. That's very impressive. This wrench is $500. So to spend a fraction on getting it calibrated is well worth it. That's where you're going to save money. Not only are you going to save money there, but you're going to save money by not blowing up an engine. Because let's face it, guys, the only time we question the torque wrench is when we have built so many engines and the last 3 have failed us. So you got to ask yourself why. A lot of good techs, when they're doing their torquing on head bolts or main bolts, they may feel a stretch. They'll feel a failure if they're paying attention, and they'll stop. But a lot of times we're going to be relying on the torque wrench. So it's very important that whether you have a 1/2-inch torque wrench or a 3/8 torque wrench or even an inch-pound 1/4-inch torque wrench. This is mostly used when doing drag on a differential pinion, right? If you guys are doing ring and pinions, you want to use this because you're looking for 15 to 18 inch-pounds. And this is just a flex piece of metal. This can also be calibrated. Now you know that you're going to have peace of mind because they've done their job. You know that because they're going to put a certificate right here on your tool that gives you the date and gives you the company that certified this calibration of the torque wrench. So that's going to give you peace of mind. And in this game, peace of mind is priceless. So if you guys want to be successful in what you do and you want to continue what you do by being able to fund it and keep your wife or a girlfriend happy, then you got to calibrate your tools. You got to take care of your investment. So go to Team Torque, give them a call, find out where they are, send them your tools, get them calibrated, continue building the engines and having the fun that we have.
Sam's Garage is presented by NHOU. Brought to you by the following companies: fuel injection just got a whole lot simpler. Sam walks through Edelbrock's Pro-Flo EFI setups for old school Mopars, LS swaps, and Gen 5 Hemis. Tune it from your phone, run boost, and control your transmission without touching a shop. Plug and play, any application. Run boost and control your transmission.
All right, guys, today we're going to be talking fuel injection, and in this case, Edelbrock Pro-Flo EFI. And you guys have seen me multiple times install one of these on LS vehicles and on other applications. Today we're going to show you the different scenarios that we have that they have brought to the market, especially this nice new LS design. Now this one here is going to be for an old school Mopar 383. This is a nice deal because it is a classic design with the throttle body right in the middle of it that'll make it look just like an old school carburetor, except for these individual fuel rails. That's going to give you port fuel injection, which is a lot better for fuel economy and drivability. It's going to make more power as well. This is all very cool because you get to tune this with your telephone. Cell phone, all you gotta do is download the app. And in this case, it's gonna come with a distributor because this is an old school motor that runs a distributor. So it's gonna come with the distributor, you set the timing, you lock it in place, and now you'll have full timing control. Especially good if you wanna run boost. Now this is their new LS design. I'm gonna be putting this in my new short bed V6 old school 2005 Silverado. I'm gonna put a V8 in it, and I'm gonna put this guy in it with a turbocharger. That's a nice new look. And what this does is give you that same quality of the standalone, which includes all the wire harnesses, everything you need along with the wideband O2 sensor, the computer, which is weather tight. You can put that anywhere. It's gonna come with everything you need to plug and play any of these applications. Now this here is for a new school Gen 5 Hemi. This is going to be for a 392 Hemi. You're going to use the factory intake manifold and the factory fuel rails. You can always upgrade the injectors. All you got to do is go into your phone and tell it what pound injectors that you have. But this wire harness is designed to bolt right onto the Hemi engine. You'll be able to have full controllability of that Hemi and not have to worry about having to unlock it, send it off to a shop, get a whole new computer. This alone will cost as much as unlocking the computer on a new school Hemi. So this is a nice new deal. All these are going to come with a similar wire harness and setup that you can put onto your application, make it discreet, and be able to tune it yourself. Now, in the case of this Mopar, because it's got an old school carburetor, you're going to have a open gas tank, no baffling. It's going to be basically just like for a fuel for a carburetor. So what you do in that case is you can use the factory mechanical fuel pump that's on the side of the motor and the factory fuel tank, if it's a good fuel tank with no rust, and then install a sump from Edelbrock that's going to be remote located. It's going to go in between the fuel injection and the mechanical fuel pump. So all you'll do is feed the fuel pump through a filter that's provided into this unit, and then from this unit into the fuel rail. And what's cool is that you could go in to your phone and tell it that you have installed this particular setup so that you can pulse width modulate the fuel pump in there so that the pressure always remains the way Edelbrock wants it to. So this is a very nice setup. If you guys want to go fuel injection, today you got a whole bunch of options. You got the old school, you got the new school design, and you've got fuel sump capability to be able to put into your old school car without having to change out the entire fuel system. What this is going to do is this is going to prevent slosh. Because you have an open design, usually a carburetor has reserve fuel in the bowl up top. So when you hit the brakes, when you hit the gas, there is no slosh, you don't go dry. But when you go fuel injected and you put a fuel pump in the tank or you put one in line, now you're relying on picking up the fuel from the tank, and if you hit the gas, you're gonna slosh forward and backward because there's no baffling in it. What this does is the mechanical pump is gonna always keep fuel in this guy, keeping it full so that it'll keep that slosh from happening. You guys want fuel injection, you want easeability, you wanna be able to do it yourself at home with the ease of your cell phone, check out Edelbrock Pro-Flo EFI. Today we're going to be showing you guys how you can prevent rust.
It's a 1968 Corvette, a numbers matching big block, 4-speed car. I bought it in October, restored it. Just a great car. I've taken it on the power tour. I drive it, try to put some miles on it, but not too many because of the original motor. And we're here today to try to do a little rust prevention. Well, there's an issue with the frame in that the cross rails and the side rails, I noticed when I was under the car 1,000 times doing the restoration, you can see little pieces of surface rust up inside the frame rails. They have drain holes, but I think moisture still gets up there and creates some surface rust. So I've blown that out to blow as much of the rust out as possible. And then you and I had a conversation about it, and you recommended that we use the
NHOU spray. We're going to use a nozzle. We're going to take this. We're going to spray it all in the cavities of the frame. This is also very good that if you guys got engines sitting around like I do, stored, waiting for a project in the future, the cylinders can get rusty. So take your spark plug out and spray some of this in the cylinders as well, and that'll do a nice coating of oil, unlike something that would maybe coat it for a second, then run off. This will actually stay. And then when you go to crank the engine up, it'll just burn out completely. So you want to do rust prevention? Check out NHOU.
A 66 Corvette that never had air conditioning is about to get cold. Sam and Wade tackle a Vintage Air Gen 5 kit, drilling, modifying factory knobs, pulling the heater box, and mounting the compressor. When Sam heads to Virginia, Wade takes the wheel and finishes the job.
I got Wade back at the shop, and he's going to be helping me put the Vintage Air system in the 1966 Corvette with the 327 build. And what we did, Wade, was went ahead and go with a Gen 5 kit that gives you everything that's new and updated to go into that Corvette with a V-belt setup.
And this is a car that never had air conditioning, right?
That is correct.
So there are options. You can get one. If it had air conditioning, you can get a different kit that fits, but this is going to be a bolt-in kit, no air conditioning. Fix that.
So the instructions say. Usually they're about 99% bolt-in. Let's see what happens. I'm going to work under the hood while he does everything under the dash.
Isn't it bolt-in?
So this particular kit on the 66 Corvette allows you to reuse the knobs on the factory HVAC unit, and Wade is going to tell you how he's going to modify them.
So on these, there's two separate ones. There's one that screws on, and there's one that's held in with a set screw. You have to drill both of them to a bigger size and then put an insert in so it'll slide onto the new fittings. So we're drilling them out. In order to get everything in there, you're going to have to take the glove box out, and you're going to have to remove the actual box section and put in a shorter box section, which comes with the kit. So we're going to take the battery out because we have to take this entire heater box assembly out, and in order to have room, battery's got to come out. So this is the blower motor assembly. And the housing that holds all that, we unbolt it, pull it out. So after we get the blower motor assembly out, that loosens the heater box and the heater core, and all this can come off the firewall and come out. So we're fitting the bracket that goes on the exhaust manifold. This has a ram style manifold, and it says we use a 1/4 inch spacer on the rear and a 1 inch in the front. So we fit it in the first and the third manifold holes, and then we tighten them up. So this one gets a 2-inch bolt, 1/8 inch spacer, and bolts onto the water pump. So the kit comes with really nice nylon lock bolts. So I get regular bolts to pre-fit it. so you don't wear out the lock bolts when you're taking it on and off, because you'll probably have to take it on and off a couple of times before you're all finished. So we have to drill a hole in the firewall for the drain, 5/8 inch, 5 inches down, 10 3/4 from the vent hole. On the firewall, we had to cut the frame out because there was a lip. The lip is great when you use the original parts, but we have a plate that's going to bolt flush. The lip keeps it from bolting flush, so we have to remove the lip so everything bolts and seals tight. So we've put the inserts in the firewall so we can bolt the plate in. We've cut the extra spacing for the holes. We've made it flat. We're putting the plate in.
I'm just glad that he's got this whole thing covered. I want to thank you, Wade, so much. There's not a lot of people I trust doing this kind of work, but he is awesome at what he does, and he's got this thing completely handled. We're going to go to break. When we come back, he's going to finish this job all by himself. I got to go to Virginia Motorsports Park and get ready for the next Norby show. So thank you very much, Wade. You got this, right?
I got it.
All right, buddy. I'll see you next time.
Sam's Garage is presented by NHOU. Brought to you by the following companies: Welcome back to more Sam's Garage, presented by NHOU. Wade's solo now, and he's not slowing down. From bench prepping the unit to running refrigerant lines, wiring the compressor, and pulling vacuum on the system, he's putting the final touches on the factory fresh AC install on a 50-year-old Corvette. Cold air is coming.
Okay, now that Sam's gone, we can get down to some real work. We've already prepped the car over there. Now we're gonna prep this on the bench to get it ready to go in. There's some plugs you have to add, there's some nutserts you have to add, and then there are the fittings that you have to add so it'll go through the firewall. So let's get that done. So we've done our bench prep work on the unit. These units are pretty much all the same for all the cars. So they send different bracketry to bolt on to fit your particular application. Your instruction booklet, which is specific to your car, will have very detailed instructions as to what goes on there. Once you have it all prepped on the bench, it's ready to go in the car. So we'll set it in the car, loosely fit the bolts in there so we can get it all dialed in, and then start running hoses, connecting things, and then we'll tighten everything up for a final shot and be done. So once you have the box installed up onto the firewall, you've got to mount the relay, ground one of the wires. There's a convenient place on the side where the interior light mounts. Once that is mounted, the rest of the wires come through the firewall and we'll route those through the big plate that's about to go on next. So now we've been working on the condenser with the dryer to get it in the car. The lower brackets will go on, the dryer goes on, upper bracket goes on, tells you which holes to go in. Once that's all set and done, we just sit it into the car on the existing holes. So we've finished putting the condenser dryer in, we have it bolted in, so now it's time to run the lines. There's a hard line from the dryer to the condenser, then there's a hard line that goes through the bulkhead as well. So we've mounted them to the back of the compressor, then we've continued on and they go into the firewall, into the unit that we put in earlier. And after that, we have to run the heater hose. There's a heater control valve that has to be mounted. It is conveniently mounted behind the battery. Then there's another hose that comes out and turns and goes to our header tank, and then the other one from the heater valve will continue around under the compressor and goes to the intake manifold, which will feed the system.
So apparently while I was in Virginia, checking out Virginia Motorsports Park, Wade got a little head cold. So here I am. He did most of everything. What I'm doing is helping him with the wiring. So what I did was run the blue wire per the instructions. Now, I did hook up the machine. I went ahead and did a vacuum test on it, pulled out all the air, which also pulls out all the moisture, giving you a better, more efficient performance from the AC system. So when it comes to the wiring portion of the AC system, you want to make sure you read the instructions. We have a couple of different things going on. One is going to be the heavy wire It's gonna connect to the blower unit. And then we got here for the control unit, the red is gonna go on to the supplied fuse holder. The heavy gauge orange wire is gonna be supplied fuse holder for the blower motor. These are both gonna go on the battery for constant power. I'm gonna connect what I need to get to the battery. Then I'm gonna put the battery in place, verifying that I have 12-volt ignition under switched power for the violet wire. I should be able to connect that, and the wiring portion will be done. Then the fun part begins, and that is putting all the plastic duct work and the vent hoses in, and we'll see how that goes with these big hands. All right, so this thing's about 95% done. Now, Vintage Air does a good job of giving you everything you need to not have to leave the house and install your kit. So, you as technicians, you want to charge about 15 to 20 hours for this job. This is a very long job. It's going to take at least 3 days. You want to do it slow. You want to make sure you got everything on the inside nice. Once you do all that, this will be as reliable as a new car's AC system.
We covered it all today, from calibrated tools, cleaner fuel systems, and one very cool Corvette. Keep the wrenches tight, the build smart, and we'll see you next time on Sam's Garage. Be sure to check out Sam's Garage on these other media platforms.